This is Dave. And I go, hi, Dave. This is Jeff Goldberg from Jeff Goldberg and Associates. And Dave goes, stop right there. I've heard of you. I know you're so damn good that you're going to get the appointment. And once you get here, you're going to close me. So why don't I save us both some time and just send you a check right now? Yeah, they don't go like that, do they? But if you're good at it, cold calling is still the best way. So you got to find a way up, down, around, and over the wall, or move on to something else. So let's talk about motivation, because that's actually what Ted paid me to talk about with you tonight. So if you expect me to motivate you, you're in the wrong place. While I am in part a motivational speaker, if you think I can motivate you, you're dead wrong. Now, I'm not saying that I can't give you a lot of rah-rah, pump you up. You know how long that lasts? 10 minutes. Anybody ever go to a Tony Robbins event? They're great, right? You walk out of a Tony Robbins event, you are pumped up out of your mind. I have walked out of a Tony Robbins event and go, I'm going to the office. I'm not waiting until tomorrow morning. I'm going right now and I'm going to make some cold calls. You are pumped up out of your mind. And the next day you're pumped up out of your mind. And the next day you're pretty pumped up. And the next day you're kind of pumped up. And the day after that, it's like, wasn't I really excited a few days ago? What happened? Tony can't motivate you forever. You can listen to his tapes and CDs and podcasts and stuff like that. That's good stuff. But if you expect to say motivated forever from somebody else, I don't think that's going to work. Unless you're a mafia hitman and people know that you've killed others, that's a person who can motivate you. But true motivation only comes from within. And I actually did Google this the other day. When I Googled the word motivation a few days ago, we came up with 3,840,000,000 hits for the word motivation. That's a lot of information. And the definition in the Webster's Dictionary of motivation is the act of being, motivation is the act of being motivated. Okay, that doesn't really tell me much. So what is motive? It's something that causes a person to act. Okay, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to the truth about what we need to talk about. Good. Why should we be motivated? Why bother? Can't I just be calm, Jeff, and kind of wait for business to roll in? I'd like my business to work that way. I'd like to have one of those ringing phones. Anybody got a ringing phone? That's the one that rings all day long saying, please, I need an MSP. Please, I need some sales training today. I haven't found one of those yet. So we need to be motivated because we've got to make stuff happen. And almost nothing happens without taking action. Anybody here a fan or knowledgeable about the law of attraction? Nobody. Okay, just you and me. I'll just talk to you about it then. So the law of attraction is a universal spiritual law, like you all know the law of gravity, yes? If I'm holding something in my hand, I open my hand, it drops to the floor. The law of gravity works whether you believe it or not. You don't have to understand it, it just does. Well, the law of attraction says, and this was very popular about 15 years ago. Oprah was all over it. Larry King had people over it. There was a great movie and a book written about it called The Secret. And the secret supposedly was that if you think the right thoughts and feel the right feelings, you can attract anything into your life. And in fact, everything that's happening to you, good and bad, is because you attracted it. Well, there's one thing they left out. You do have to think the right thoughts and you do have to feel the right feelings, but you also have to take massive action. I could walk outside in the rain and go, it's not raining, it's not raining. Guess what? I'm still getting rained on, I'm still getting wet. You need to act and you need to be motivated to move into action. And a positive mental attitude, I'm a king of positive mental attitude. I'm what I call a realistic optimist. I'm not blind to the world. I'm a realistic optimist, but you got to have a positive attitude in sales. Why? Because we get beat up most of the time. Salespeople need to believe everything's going to work out. If not, why would we take the beating that we take every day from prospects who don't want to turn themselves into customers, or who are taking too long, or aren't returning your calls, or aren't returning your emails? Anybody else besides me ever have that? They're not returning. They seem so interested. Why won't they? Just me. Nobody raised their hand. Okay, never mind. I need to take your sales training then. I actually have a methodology for that, but we're not going to get into it tonight. So it's good to be a positively mental attitude person, but it's not enough. The fact is, the only thing that really matters, that really motivates you, is commitment. You've got to be committed. And you have to decide, what are you committed to? Looking to lose a few pounds? It's not going to happen unless you're committed. You want to get wealthy? It's not going to happen unless you're committed. I actually lost 36 pounds in the last 5.5 months. In fact, this morning I weighed myself before I left to go get on the plane. I was 216 5 months ago. This morning I was 181.2. My goal is 180. I'm almost there. Yes, that's right. This is where you applaud. That's right. Anybody want to know how I lost that much weight? Commitment. Commitment. I could tell you the exact method. I stopped eating flour and I eat almost no sugar. Boom. comes right off. But how did I do that? Because I can tell you this, for the last 2, maybe 3 years, and by the way, I'm one of those people, I lose the weight, I gain the weight. I lose the weight, I gain the weight. It's not going to happen this time. I'm giving you my commitment. It's not going to happen this time. But for 2 years, I've been going, I should lose some weight. I need to lose some weight. I want to lose some weight. I hope I lose some weight. And I'm definitely the guy who goes, Monday the diet starts, or the first of the month the diet starts. Except for me, if Monday comes and it's 6 o'clock, well, I don't stop working. It's 8 o'clock and I've stopped working. Now I'm going to go cook, except, oh, I forgot to take out something healthy for dinner. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to order some Chinese food tonight and I'll start the diet tomorrow. And by the way, you guys don't know me, but I don't eat one plate of Chinese food. It's 2 big heaping plates. And I'm not a brown rice guy. I'm going to stuff my face with stuff that's bad for me. The only reason I lost the weight is commitment. You want to be motivated? Be committed to being motivated. You want to make more money? You've got to be committed because, as we all know, it's not a straight path. We'd all like success to look like that, but that's not how it works. It's like this. It's crazy. And the walls keep hitting you in the face. And without commitment, when those walls hit you in the face, you're going to stop. And that's the type of salesperson who goes, hey, Ted, it's not working out here. I'm going to go someplace else. And guess what happens when you go someplace else? It's not working out there either. It's not them. It's you. You're not committed. You want to get great at sales? Study it. Study it. People often tell me, Jeff, you're a natural salesperson. The truth is, I do have some of the characteristics that make me a great salesperson. But the reason I'm a great salesperson is because I studied. I read every book that comes out, still. 48 years in sales, I still read every book that comes out. You know why? I don't know everything. And I don't know, was it Dave? Oh, God. I have to look at my driver's license in the morning to remember my name, Dave. So I'm amazed that happened. I smoked way too much pot in the 60s. So you've got to be committed. You've got to be committed 100%. If you want to make money, if you want to be successful, you've got to be committed. And you've got to be committed to not just money, but to being motivated every day. Because if things get tough, you're screwed. Whoops, that wasn't right. Okay. So how do you get motivated? If I'm here to tell you as a motivational speaker that I can't motivate you, how can you get motivated? Well, true motivation, as I said, comes from within. It's got to come from right inside, deep inside Dave. And motivation is caused a desire to change, to have something that you don't, to be something that you're not. How many of you have things that you'd like to have that you just don't have now? Just me. Okay, the 2 of us. I know it's late. So I'm going to now give you some tips so that you can be motivated, so you don't need me or Tony Robbins to help you out. These are a bunch of tips that you can use to be motivated whenever you're not. And by the way, we all get down in the dumps sometimes. Tony Robbins, who I'm a big fan of, if you've never seen him, he explodes onto the stage. He's out of his mind. The energy is there. But nobody's up all the time. Even Tony gets depressed sometimes. So the first thing is change your thinking. In case you don't know it, your brain is an incredibly powerful tool. And you were born, get this, you were born to be successful. Why do I say that? Read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He says that you and me, we popped out of the womb with a success mechanism in our brain. You were born to be successful. But your success mechanism has to have something to focus on, which is a goal. How many of you have written down goals? Specific written down. Oh, good. This is a great organization. I love that. So you got to change the way you're thinking. If you catch yourself thinking, I'm a loser, I hate this, guess what? If you think you're a loser, you're going to act like a loser. If you say, I'm in debt, I'm broke, guess what you're going to attract? More broke, more debt, more weight. You got to change the way you think. You've got to pay attention to your own thoughts. You've got to pay attention to the little voice inside your head that's always talking to you. You're such an idiot. You're such a loser. You're such an idiot. By the way, if you don't know what little voice I'm talking about, it's the little voice that just said, what little voice is Jeff talking about? It's constantly speaking to us. Change your physicality. How many of you are working from home? Yeah, me too. Sitting in a chair all day on Zoom constantly, one Zoom call after another Zoom call after another Zoom call. It's easy to sit by yourself and get down. Get up. Walk around the block. I live a block from the ocean, and I have a dog named Duke. He's a black pug. I love him beyond belief. Whenever I'm a little down, I get up, take Duke for a quick walk. 15 minutes later, I'm up again. It's hard to stay motivated all the time, staring into a computer screen, praying that prospects are going to have a conversation with you and finally say, okay, send over the contract. Get up and move. Exercise is a good thing too. I'm not a big exerciser. You can tell there's no Arnold Schwarzenegger here. But get up and walk around. Change the way you actually speak. Listen to the way you speak. As a sales coach, I listen to every word that my clients say, every single one, because I believe this. One single word can be the difference between sale and no sale. Listen to the words you choose to use and choose them carefully. You want to be more motivated? Stop using that negative stuff on yourself. Change the way you listen. We have what's called an already always listening. We're listening not really to learn, hear and learn. We're listening to, oh, here's what I know about them. They're just kind of reinforcing it. But we're going to miss stuff. You really have to listen with what I call baby ears. Every single prospect, even though you've been doing this a long time, listen with baby ears. Because they may tell you in one sentence exactly what you need to know in order to help them close. I truly believe this. If you ask the right questions and listen actively, your prospects will tell you everything you need to know in order to help them choose to become your customer. Listen actively. And one of my favorite ways to feel motivated is through the use of music. Music can be an incredibly strong motivator. I love music for a long time. Dave, who's your favorite band? I only have an hour, Dave. The Stones. You mean the Beatles, right? Okay. Who's your favorite band? Yeah, you. The Beatles too. Okay, good. My favorite band is the Beatles. I like Boston too, and I love the Stones too, but my favorite band is the Beatles. I was born in the 50s. I can still remember the moment when I first heard the Beatles, walking to school as a 10-year-old with a transistor radio. Do I have to explain what that is to anybody? It's a little handheld radio before we had those phones that have everything on it. And a song came on the radio. And I was standing on the corner in Greenleaf and Pratt. I can see it right now, 56 years later, and a song came on and I stopped. I was stunned. And the song sounded like this. Mike?
1, 2, 3, 4.
That's my favorite song in the world. The Beatles are my favorite band. That's my favorite song. All I have to hear is that 1, 2, 3, 4, and my mood changes. I'm a little bit down. That's exactly what I put on. One more time, Mike.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Boom, boom. By the time Paul gets to 4, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hear the excitement in his voice. I'm pumped. Music is great. I'm slightly embarrassed to admit this to you, but at 4:30 this morning, I'm in the shower. Ugly picture for both of us, I understand. And I have stereo speakers in my shower because I'm constantly listening to music. And I have young kids. I have 3 kids. One is 20. The twins are 19. That's right. I have 3 kids in college. That's why Dad's working at the age of 66. But I'm in the shower this morning at 4:30 in the morning. And who comes on? Hannah Montana. Except it was a rocker. She actually had some good music. Most of it was this corny, syrupy pop, but a song come on. And this is me. I kid you not. I often exaggerate to make a point. I promise you, no exaggeration here. This is me at 4:30 this morning. I know I look like an idiot, and I look like an idiot then, but man, I was pumped up. I was pumped up just knowing I was coming to see you, but music can change your life. I urge you, create a playlist of just pump-up music. And anytime you're not feeling motivated, stick that on. Music change. Look at how my physicality changed the moment you put that on, right? And I'm a pretty pumped up guy naturally. Music is great for changing for being motivated. Your speaking, the way you actually speak, helps to create the world around you. Does anybody know what the observer effect is? It's from quantum physics. The observer effect says that when you do an experiment, when people are looking at the experiment, it actually changes the outcome. It's fascinating stuff. There's all kinds of videos on it. Well, the way you speak influences the people that you're speaking to and you. So you've got to watch your words carefully and make sure that you're speaking in a positive way. If you speak doom and gloom, that's what you're going to find. I'm not saying be unrealistic, but change the way you speak and you'll change your life and you'll change your motivation. The way you speak not only changes the way others perceive you, but the way you perceive yourself. And if you want to be motivated, you better see yourself as a winner. I'm somebody who makes things happen. I'm successful. Affirmations. Oh, I keep doing this. Okay, so if you look for bad things, you're going to find them. And right now, there's a lot of crazy bad stuff in the world, yes? We got COVID. Politics have been insane for several years. There's a lot of bad. If you look for the bad, it's easy to find. And if you look for the good, you can find that too. The way you speak and the way you look at things changes who you are. And that's how you stay motivated. Choose to look for the good, because you will find it. Oops. Another great thing when you're feeling a little bit down, gratitude. Gratitude is a very high space to be in. It has a very high vibration. I suggest every single morning, or I do it in the morning, but nighttime is good too. Make a list of everything you're grateful for every single day. Even if things are bad, there's always something to be grateful for. I start my day by, of course, I go to the men's room and then I walk my dog, because he needs to go to the men's room too. As I'm walking my dog, I kid you not, again, no exaggeration here. I'm walking my dog. I have a flashlight on my head because my dog likes to pick things up as he's eating, as he's walking. And some of the I don't even want to mention it, but he'll eat other dog stuff. So I'm constantly scanning and I'm walking. But while I'm doing that, I have a big smile on my face. And I know I look like a dope right now, but no kidding. I walk through my neighborhood like this, speaking out loud to myself so that my brain can hear it. Today is going to be a great day. Only incredibly wonderful things are going to happen to myself and my family today. I'm going to touch a lot of people today. And everyone I interact with is going to be thrilled that they were touched by me. Anybody thrilled yet? Or do I have more work to do? Thank you. Oh, keep going. Okay. Right. So start your day by saying, things are great. Here's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my 3 beautiful children. By the way, I'm a guy who never wanted kids. I didn't know how wonderful they were. I'm so grateful for my 3 kids. I'm grateful for my ex-wife. And that may sound weird. We're not meant to live together, but I'm so grateful that if I hadn't known her, I wouldn't have these 3 great kids. And she's a great mom and a great co-parent. I'm very grateful for her. I'm grateful that she introduced me to pugs. When she said, let's get a dog, she said, let's get a dog. It'll be good practice for having kids. Not even close. Not even close. But I said, okay, let's get a lab, something I can tie a bandana around and throw a Frisbee with and go running with. I don't run. I just thought it was a cool thing to say. She goes, no, I got to have a pug. Like, I don't even know what that looks like. So we go to a pet store and she points to it. I'm like, what? That's an alien. That's not a dog. My license plate is now Pug Lover. You get under your skin. I'm grateful to my ex-wife for introducing me to pugs. And you've got to dump the if-onlys. Most of us live in the past. And we've got a bunch of, I'll be happy, I'll be motivated when this happens. When I get a better car, when I go on a better vacation, when I marry a better man or woman, when I get a better house. I know a lot of really wealthy people. I do all right. I'm not super wealthy, but I know a lot of really wealthy people. Here's what I can tell you for sure. Money has nothing to do with happiness. It makes it easier to not have a bunch of aggravation on your head, which makes it easier to be happy. Money sure don't buy happiness. You want to be happy? Choose it. You want to be motivated? Choose that too and dump the if-onlys. If only I lost weight, then I'd be happy. I'm no happier now than I was 5 months ago. I'm proud, but I'm no happier. Got to get rid of the if-onlys. If you're living in the if-onlys, you are not going to be motivated. And because our attitude does create our word, we've got to drop the wounds of the past. If you study this kind of thing, most of us are living based on stuff that happened to us when we were 8 years old or younger. We spend our entire lives based on crap that our parents told us and stuff that happened to us, and it affects us forever. I know some great coaches who can help you with that, not me. But we live in that. It's constantly affecting us. We got to drop the wounds of the past. Got to forget about it. The past is the past. And guess what? The future may not ever happen. There's really only an endless series of now, 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 now. Live in the moment. I'm not saying don't plan for the future, but you've got to be here right now. You've got to be present. You've got to be focused. Your prospects need you to be intensely focused on them. You want to make more money, by the way? Make your prospect feel special. Very few people feel special in life, even people with cool titles like CEO. Guess what? I know a lot of CEOs. They're just like you and me. I often tell younger audiences this. I was really intrigued when I walked in. I'm like, where are the kids? What a tenured group. But young kids often are very intimidated by selling to older people. Here's what I tell them. They're the same idiots as you and I are. They have wives and husbands and dogs and kids that are giving them a hard time. They put on their pants one leg at a time too. Don't be intimidated by anybody. I've sold to CEOs of major corporations. I'm one guy working out of his beach house. Don't let that intimidate you. But living in the pains of the past gives people juice. They get excitement out of it. They think they get something out of it. Forget that. Life is short. At 66, I can tell you, look, I'm not ready to die. I think I've got plenty of good years. I'm in great health. I've still got a lot of energy, but I'm not going to live forever. It gives you juice, excitement when you complain. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. Choose to be happy with this moment and look towards the future and create it. Be motivated to create a future for yourself and your family that you want to live into. And by the way, I really do believe you can create any future you want. Anything. You want to drive a Lamborghini? You can have that. Just got to work hard for it. Close more prospects. My grandmother said, "Zai goes in." He just sneezed on it. That means it must be true. Remembering past successes is also a great way to be motivated. We've all been successful at some time. You ever meet that guy who's, he was the star pitcher in high school and he's still living that? Well, we've all had successes in our life. When you're a little unmotivated, start thinking about, oh yeah, I remember when I did this. I remember when I did that. That worked out really well. It's a great way to get pumped up. Review and plan every single night. Every single night you should be looking at what happened today, what went well, what could I have done better? Think about it. There's always something that happened good, and that helps you be motivated. Don't go it alone. Sales is a lonely gig. It's a lonely gig, especially working from home. You need help. Reach out. One of the things I do is outsource sales management. I keep telling all the people I work with, call me. I often meet people in airports. Oh yeah, Jeff, I was going to call you. I didn't want to bother you. Don't do that. You need help. Get it. It's hard to go it alone. We weren't meant to. The planet, the earth was not created for us to be alone. And you're talking to a guy, by the way, or you're listening to a guy who likes to be alone. I spend time with people like you all day long. At night, leave me alone. When my phone rings at night, here's what that sounds like. Who is it? Except you know what? I answer every time because you never know. That's one of my other favorite phrases. You never know. That's why I'll go out on almost any blind date. You never know. Could be the next Mrs. Goldberg. Visualize the end game. Anybody not know what reverse engineering is? Figure out what you're working for and work your way back. It becomes simple when you take this. What happened? Do you know that's how we got to the moon? By reverse engineering. Okay, we're on the moon. What has to happen right before that? And what has to happen right before that? And eventually they got back to the launch pad. Reverse engineer your life. Because when you're looking at the end game, that's something to be motivated about. Whether it's a Lamborghini like Dave, I'm calling you Dave just because I know Dave's name, like Dave wants, or you want to have a security, you want to retire, you want a bigger, whatever it is you want. Review the end game and work back from there. Choose, that's one of my favorite words. That's why I put it in caps. Choose to be motivated. Everything is a choice. By the way, that sucks to hear, I know. Because you know what that means? You're responsible. If you aren't motivated, guess why? You aren't motivating yourself. If you aren't successful, guess why? You didn't choose to be successful. You're not happy? You didn't choose to be happy. Every single moment is a choice. I choose to be happy almost all the time. There are times when it's inappropriate. Funeral, not an appropriate time to be happy. I choose happiness all day long. Here's my thinking. I don't want to go out for lunch and walk across the street to the deli and get hit by a car and have my last waking thought on this planet be, crap, I spent my last day being upset, unhappy. Choose happiness, choose success, choose to be motivated. And that means you've got to accept responsibility. It's so much easier when it's Ted's fault. It's Irene's fault. Guess what? It's not. If you're not getting it, and again, I already told you, I'm really impressed with this company. But if you're not getting everything you need, go get it or do it yourself. Because at the end of the day, your success is really dependent on one person, you. If you don't accept responsibility, then you're going to have your entire life going, why am I not making the money I know I'm capable? I know I'm capable of making more money. How many of you have ever had that thought? I know I can be making more. Just me. Okay, a few of you. Yeah. Guess how to do that? Understand you're responsible for yourself. It's not Ted. He's here to help you. And I think he's going to be really good at it. In my conversations with him, I'm blown away. He's the right guy. But at the end of the day, it's Dave and Buster. I'm just calling you Buster just because Dave and Buster's. And imagine and believe that it's impossible to fail. I know it is possible to fail, but you got to believe you're going to succeed. If you don't believe you're going to succeed, guess what? You're not going to take the actions that you need to do it. Because success doesn't come easy. There's a myth, overnight success. That doesn't happen. Ask any movie star, any musician. It almost never happens overnight. It takes time. But you've got to start now. Imagine that you can't fail. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? That's a great question to ask yourself. If I knew I wouldn't fail, what would I do? Now go do that thing. and take the chance. Yeah, sometimes you're going to fall flat on your face. Guess what? It's okay. It's okay. Anybody know how many times Thomas Edison failed before the light bulb was invented? 10,000. Who would stick that out? 10,000. He had 9,999 failures. And then he had a light bulb and changed the world and got really wealthy. I wasn't anti-Semite, but we're not going to go there. Act as if. I love acting as if. Fake it until you make it. If you're not motivated now, act as if you were. Ask yourself the question, what would I be doing right now if I was motivated? And do that thing. You'll reverse engineer into it. Start doing that stuff, and then you will be motivated. Act as if you're already successful. Look backwards on your ideal life. Brainstorm. How many of you actually take the time to invest in your business? Anybody unfamiliar with the concept of the difference between working in your business and on your business? Anybody not know what I'm talking about? Everybody does. Good. So take some time and work on your business. Most of us are so busy all day long, every day, making money, which we have to do, that we never take the time to think about, what could I do better? What could I do? Well, it's Ted's job to figure that out. No, it's not. It's Dave's job. I'm just going to keep calling your name, Dave, because you're the only one I remember. It's your job to come up with that stuff and figure out what your why is. What are you working for? What are you working towards? I can tell you my why, my 3 kids. I had a conversation with somebody early and I admitted, I didn't want kids. I didn't really, actually all my life I said, I'm never getting married. My dad was divorced 6 times. Married 6 times, divorced 5. And my mom was married 3, divorced twice. Did I think marriage was a good idea? No. But I met a girl and fell in love and said, let's get married. But I didn't want to have kids. I'm too selfish. Let's just hang out. We'll have a great time. We'll travel the world. We'll have more money. Except she said, no, I want to have kids. So I figured, you know what? Somebody to watch cartoons with. I like cartoons. Turns out the kids are the greatest thing in the world. But if I didn't know what my why was, my why is my 3 kids. I do everything I do every day to take great care of my 3 children. Avery, Hannah, Zachary, Elijah, and Skylar Brooke. My why is to give them the best life they can possibly have. Not spoil them, but give them a great life. That's why every day I'm excited to get up. Of course, I want to take care of myself. And of course, I got to give some money to Jackie. She had a good lawyer. But that's my why. Know what your why is. Why is. And I already talked about the overnight success thing. Here's something that I think is crucial. Celebrate all wins. CAW stands for Celebrate All Wins. I would bet that Ted's going to create a culture here of doing that. When I manage companies, we're high-fiving constantly. I'm so old school that I have a ship's bell in every team that I manage. And when somebody gets an appointment, they ring the bell. When they close a deal, they ring the bell. And my rule is everybody stands up and applauds. Now, that's hard to do from home. But in an office, everybody stands up and applauds, period. I don't care what else is going. And I had somebody tell me once, I can't do that. You know, I've got a prospect on the phone. What if they hear it? Tell them somebody else just chose to become involved with our company. Now, why would you want to celebrate all wins? Because when you do, it feels good. How many football fans here? Perfect, perfect. I'm actually not a football fan at all. But here's what I know. There's a guy on the team who gets paid to throw a ball. And he gets paid pretty well, usually $20, $30 million a year to throw a ball. The same thing kids want to do after school every day for free. 20 to 30 million bucks. And there's another guy on the team who gets paid 5 to 10 million to catch the ball. By the way, to me, that means they should throw it and catch it perfectly every single time. And they don't. I don't get it. But what happens when the quarterback throws a ball 3 feet and the receiver catches it? What happens? The crowd goes wild and the team goes wild. They're punching each other on the rear end. They're banging helmets. They're chest bumping. They're high-fiving. Why? Because celebration feels good. And when you feel good, you want to do it again. It's addictive. You want more. Create a culture here at Logically. Celebrate every single win. I don't care how small. When I'm losing weight, if I lose an ounce, I'm happy. Not as happy as when I lose a pound, but happy. Celebrate every single win and acknowledge yourself for it because it feels good and you're going to want more of it. Figure out what's holding you back. Most of us don't take the time to think about that. What is in the way? Because if you don't know what's in the way, how are you going to deal with it? Be honest with yourself. That's not always easy. It's tough to look in the mirror, except if you want to grow and you really want to, if you want to make the money that you know you're capable of, take a look in the mirror. And by the way, it's okay to be afraid. Anybody who tells you you should never be afraid, that's crazy. You think the cavemen weren't afraid with saber-toothed tigers? They should have been. It's good to be afraid when you're crossing the street in Midtown Manhattan against the light. You're going to die. It's good to be afraid. It stops you. Fear is fine, but in sales, it's okay to be afraid. It just can't let it stop you. The way I always like to think about fear is, if anybody remembers the old cartoons where there's an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other, well, consider fear the devil whispering in your ear, you can't do that, it's too scary. Turn to the devil and go, thank you for sharing. Now I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to tell you how I know this works. For years, I wanted to go skydiving. I thought that would be the coolest thing in the world. By the way, it was. And every year, I got a bunch of people who would commit to going skydiving. And every year, the day before, I would get a bunch of calls. Oh, I can't make it. It's scary, super scary. So this one year I said, I don't care if nobody else goes, I'm going skydiving. So I'm not going to go on a tandem jump. There's two kinds. You can jump free fall, which is what you see on TV, or you can have somebody attached to your back so you're safer. There's an instructor, they're taking care of everything for you. That's not for me. I want to go whole hog. So I find a place in upstate New York where I can free fall the very first day. 8 hours, you're jumping out of an airplane. You know what they teach you for 7.5 hours? The position that you see them go into with the hands up and the legs up. For 7.5 hours, you practice falling out of a chair onto a mat, just doing that. Because that's what you have to do. If you don't do that, you're screwed. The other half hour, it's how to pull the emergency chute just in case the main chute doesn't open. So I'm the last jumper of the day. You go up in a small plane. I'm with a bunch of experienced jumpers because they're not just going to take one person up. And at some point, you get to, I was at 12,500 feet. They open the door on an airplane. How many of you have been in an airplane where they opened the door? A couple of you. It's scary as shit. Pardon my French, but it's scary as shit. And then you have to sit down with your legs hanging out of the airplane. It's a long way down, and the wind's rushing by. Now, here's the thing. They tell you they're going to push you out if you won't go. No, maybe where you jump, but my guy said, if you don't want to go, you can turn around. And they teach you, here's what we're going to do. There's a guy on one side of you and a guy on the other side. They're not attached, but there's handles on your suit, so they're holding on to you. And you go like this, forward, back, and all three of you go out. So I'm sitting there, and I'm going to keep this as clean as possible. You know the term scared shitless? Well, I was not scared shitless. It didn't happen, but I was clenching because, oh boy, I was terrified. But I'm like, I've been thinking about this for years. So I actually did go forward, back, out. And I was so overwhelmed that what did I do? I forgot the thing they trained me to do exactly right. I forgot to do this. And you know what happens? You start doing this. It's me and two guys attached to me, and we're flipping head over heels, and it's sky, earth, sky, earth, sky, earth, sky, earth. I didn't even know anything was wrong. It was happening too fast. One guy just let go of me. The other guy comes around me and looks in my face and goes, just like this, smiling at me, and goes, and he pulls my ripcord for me. So now I'm floating. And there's a little microphone, a speaker, and there's somebody out, with binoculars watching you, telling what, pull to the left. Now you turn around to the left. Oh, it's cool. And you're getting lower, but you can't really feel it till you get close to the ground. So you're just kind of floating, pull to the right, and you're going this way. It's really cool. And then the instruction is, when you get close to the ground, you're going to hear this. 3, 2, 1, flare. And flare means pull the brakes, because the way this chute works is you land like this. Not like in the Army where you're falling over. You're landing on your toes. So here's what happens. You see the earth starting coming up. I'm going, okay, he's going to say it any second now. And here's what I hear. 3, 2. And I'm like, oh crap, I missed it. And I pull my brakes. And I fall about 25 feet. My knees are bloody. I'm pissed off. I'm embarrassed. And I go pounding into the jump shack. And I go, what the F happened? And the guy said, well, first of all, remember that thing we trained you on for 7.5 hours? You didn't do it. I'm like, well, why are my knees bloody? He goes, you didn't wait. I said, I heard 3, 2. I thought you didn't hear it. He goes, no, I started counting too early. You just got to wait. But here's the thing. You can't let fear stop you. If I let fear stop me, I would never have had that experience, even though I got messed up a little. And that served me well 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 times. In the days of disco, I was a good dancer. And I can't tell you how many times I'd be staring across the dance floor at a beautiful woman and go, I can't ask her to dance. She's too good looking. And then I'd remember, I jumped out of a freaking airplane. I think I can walk over and say hello to a pretty girl. Don't let fear stop you. Fear's okay. Just don't let it stop you. Consider the company you keep. You've probably heard that you're an accumulation of the 5 people that you hang out with the most often. If you're hanging out with losers, you're probably not hanging out with the right people. Hang out with positive people, successful people who think the same way you do. Realize the truth about change. It's not easy. If you expect everything to be easy, I want everything to be easy. I really do. It's just not. I wish life was easy. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it takes work. There's a price to pay for everything. That's one of the lessons I've taught my kids. There's a price to pay for everything, but if you want something bad enough and you're willing to pay the price, you can have whatever you want. That'll motivate the heck out of you. Include time off. There's a great book, if any of you are readers, The Power of Full Engagement. It's written by 2 sports psychologists. They've studied high performers. High performers who build breaks into their day outperform people who work 9 to 9. High-performing stockbrokers, the hard charges make millions. If you actually build breaks into a day, you're going to be more successful. They suggest every 90 to 120 minutes, you physically and mentally need a break, not an hour break. Get up and walk around the block for 5 minutes. Take a little break. And subscribe to motivational magazines, newsletters, and things. Get something in your inbox every day, a motivational quote. For the companies I manage, every Monday morning, they get a motivational quote. Just start it off. It's the little things like that that help you keep motivated when the going gets tough. Actually, while I don't love exercise and being healthy does help you stay motivated. When you feel bad, when you wake up in the morning, and this is how I used to wake up every morning. Oh, I can't believe I ate so much last night. And that's a tough way to start out the day. When you feel better, you're going to be more motivated. You're going to have the energy to do the things that I'm talking about doing. Collect your favorite quotes and review them regularly. All you have to do is go Google motivational quotes for salespeople. It's all over the place. Take a little action. You want to be motivated? Choose to be motivated and fill your mind with motivational stuff. Learn from your mistakes, but don't use them to beat yourself up. When you hear that little voice saying negative stuff, I'm not saying you should say, don't do that. Gently acknowledge, oh, you know what? That wasn't right. I'm going to shift that and gently shift to something else. Enjoy the ride. Werner Erhard, who was the founder of the S training, which became the landmark for him, he said, it's easier to ride the horse in the direction it's going. I think that's brilliant. No matter what's going on, enjoy the ride. What's the difference between you and these people? What's the difference between you and Mahatma Gandhi? Big goals, big dreams. You want to make a lot? Dream big. You want to be motivated? Make yourself motivated. Have a big motivation. Be willing to commit, and you've got to be willing to pay the price no matter what it takes. If not, you're screwed. Life isn't easy, and for sure, sales isn't easy. Anybody who went into sales thinking it's going to be an easy gig, you are mistaken. It's not easy. It beats digging ditches, I think. I never dug ditches in the hot sun, but it beats it, I think. And you've got to acknowledge the reality of what's going on. You're having a tough time? Reach out for help. Don't sit there and moan. Get the help you need. And this is the perfect company for this. It's my understanding that you guys are from 14 or 16 different companies using 14 or 16 different CRMs. You guys are in for a lot of change. In the last couple of days that you've been here, you probably heard about it a lot. Well, you can sit and bitch about it. I like what I've got. I don't want to be with the new people. I don't like what I'm hearing. You're here. Embrace it. Love it. Because you can applaud that. Go ahead. Yeah. Because guess what? Change, whether you like it or not. So you might as well. Before I go, I have 2 last things to say to you. I often have somebody else read the quote I'm about to give you because I often get choked up when I do it. And it's written by Marianne Williamson. Some of you may recognize that name. She actually ran for president in the last election. Now, she's a wackadoo. She should never have been president. When I first saw her on the stage, I'm like, what is Marianne Williamson doing up there? But she's brilliant in terms of human psychology and personal development. And the quote I'm going to read to you now is from a book of hers called A Return to Love. And it's called Our Deepest Fear. And it says this: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be great? Who am I to be brilliant and gorgeous and talented and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. You too, Dave. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates us. So the last thing I'm going to say to you tonight is the thing I say to every audience. One of the things I teach my clients to do is manage their time more effectively, because if you want to succeed in sales and make a bunch of money, you got to be a great time manager. There's way too much to do and not enough time to do it. And as somebody who teaches other people how to manage their time effectively, I cannot begin to tell you how much I honor and appreciate the time and attention you've given to me for the last hour. I consider it a blessing. I hope it was useful for you, and I thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you.
That was great, wasn't it? Yeah. For the rest of the evening, we start tomorrow at 7:30 at breakfast and back here at 8:15. Just remember, the last person in or anybody after 8:15, just have a song ready to go, and you'll be fine. So with that, have a great evening. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there. I'm really encouraged by all the networking that's gone on and all the cards and everything. So thank you again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Mike, you are perfect.